Hello, dear viewers. I'm very happy to greet you today in this sunny day from Odessa at our YouTube channel, Allatra Middle East. Today, we are having an interview in the project Creative Society. Creative Society is a worldwide project of volunteers who want to live in a better world. It's a project built by simple people, just like me and my dear co host, Sergey. Hello, Sergey.
Hello, Olga. Hello, everyone.
And a few words about this interview. We are having these interviews all over the world, online and offline in our studios, to ask people about society they want to live, how they envision society where everybody can be safe and happy and be able to create, actually. And for more than a year, this project exists just thanks to our guests inviting their guests, then those guests invite their guests. And this is how it's a chain of people who are joining the project and they want to create as well. And this is worldwide project, I need to repeat. So everybody of you, my friends, is important. And everybody of you can join our project too. And now I'm passing a word to Sergey to introduce our dear guest.
Thank you, Olga. Yes, this project, active part of the project is for around 3 years right now, the Creative Society. But the movement and the social surveys that we are doing, it's more than 10 years now. And then we are asking people from all over the globe about their vision of a better society for them and their kids. And today, like Olga said, we have again an international conversation. Olga now is in Ukraine, I'm in Dubai, and our amazing guest today is from India. We met during Rise World Summit, and one of the organizers of the summit happened to give an interview to Allatra TV as well. So that's how we met, and the world is such a small place, as you can see. So, Mr. Rajat, welcome. How are you today? How is the weather in India?
Yeah, I'm doing great, and the weather here is it's getting better. It was very chilly and cold, but now the weather is getting a little warmer. So it's really amazing here, and thank you for inviting me. I remember that conversation we were having. I think it was late at night here, and you were at the Rise Summit. So there is so much warmth I felt when all of you were there, and there was a different feeling to being there, although it was not planned. I was not planning to be part of that event, but I just logged in, and so yeah, amazing experience there.
As you can say, an uncoincidental coincidence, right?
It's true.
Everything happens for a reason. Yeah, that was very nice. Which city are you from? Do you have snow in your city?
No. So I'm from New Delhi, and no, we don't have snow here. You'll find snow in the more hilly areas of India, but not here.
Okay. Yeah, as far as I know, in Ukraine now there is a lot of snow. In Dubai, yeah, it's sunny as usual. Okay, Mr. Rajat, I'm very sure that our viewers eager to know about you. What do you do, and what's your passion, and what motivates you in your work?
Sure. So I'm a life coach for teenagers and parents. So I work with the young ones and helping them accept themselves more and helping them being more awesome versions of themselves. So, just like in creative society, we talk about there is one goal that you have, which is to build a creative society which is free from the system of consumerist mindset, right? So when I work with the teenagers or with the children, the first thing I do is that we set our goals. What are your goals across so many areas of your life, which could be your friendships, family, your career, academics, and so many other areas of life, and areas that you want to be more awesome at, so that they can be more authentic individuals and they grow up in becoming adults with clarity in thought and action. And also for parents to create, for families, in fact, to create more connectedness between each other. So that's what I do. And yeah, that's about me.
Thank
Yeah,
you,
this
Mr.
is
Rajat.
this is very interesting what you're saying, because what I've noticed as well during all the numerous social surveys and interviews, communications that we've done, that we are people, and the only small thing that now we are missing in today's consumerism society is communication. All the problems are happening because we are concentrated in some scenario which is going on in our head, instead to get to know what the other person is feeling, or what the other person wants to do or wants to say, and especially about teenagers and kids. And this is so important what you're doing, because they're like small explorers, and once they come to this world, they're so interested about so many things. But once they get to school or to university, there is so many in our society, there is so many, like, some restrictions, prejudice. You need to do like this, you need to do like that, you need to follow these rules, that rules. And then in the end, this passion that they got from the beginning to explore, to innovate, it goes somewhere, because they need to do these things, because
Yeah,
I
in
think.
fact, if you notice that when a child is born, there is so much purity, and they are so ready to do things. They will fall down, they will rise up again, and they are not afraid to fail in things. They're not afraid to take risks. They will do everything. But as they grow older and they start building impressions from the world, from the people around, that's when they become a little restrictive and they fear sharing their feelings. They feel judged by people around. So, it's become so important today for even children to be able to structure their thought process and have their own peace of mind, if I say that. And we can create a better world. That's what Creative Society says, where if we can have the next generations which are coming in to who are able to accept themselves and who are able to be more authentic version of themselves, we can definitely create the world that we all are hoping for.
Thank you, Mr. Rajat. I also like the idea that you're teaching your pupils, students, to find a goal of their life. It's very important to understand the priority. And I have a question for you based on your experience. What do you think? Is it possible to become happy if your aim is only about material things, to earn some particular amount or to have some possessions or some money? What do you think about that?
Sure. I think we are uh, spiritual beings in a human body, and our purpose in life is uh, to be able to gain that sense of self realization about ourselves. And if we really see uh, materialistic things can be a byproduct, but if that is your primary motive for doing anything, that's where things go a little haywire. If you ever ask somebody, what is it that you want, they would say, I want a lot of money in my life, I want a great career. But if you ask them to reflect and you go deep down, they basically just want to be happy in their life. So I feel materialistic pleasures and everything is a byproduct but that should never be the focus, because true happiness is within, and it doesn't depend upon anything external. So it's like going from external validation to internal validation. It's not the car I own that determines my value. It's my value system, it's my morals, it's the way. So I was doing a program, and I asked them, students, what do you think is the is does education mean to you? And one of them, he's a 17-year-old, he stood up and said, he said, for me, education is how you treat people, how you talk to them, how you treat people who may be who may not be as privileged as you in different terms. So it's about how you treat and talk to people. That is real education. So if we can attain that, I feel that is the real essence of having a human life, of being a spiritual being in a human form.
That is so beautiful what you're saying, Mr. Rajat. And thank you, Olga, for such a wonderful question.
Beautiful question.
I really want to ask you to elaborate a bit on that. Like, can you please um, expand from your perspective, like what each of us can do to help this inner happiness in us to grow? Like, what are the from your experience, what are the steps, or what are the things that each of us can do regardless of age to help that inner person in us, spiritual person in us, to prevail, and what we can do to make that inner happiness in us to always flourish?
Another beautiful question. Thank you. So I would say this in two ways. One is, if we can all have a ritual that we do every day, a ritual like, like when we're waking up in the morning, we like to do a little bit of, a workout or a fitness thing, which we do, which is for a healthy body. So a healthy body is a healthy mind. Once you've done your workout, you can do some deep breathing, because of course, when you've done your workout, you'll be a little this way, and then you get into a deep breathing mode. And when you're doing your deep breathing, you start creating an intention for the day. Now, while you're doing this deep breathing, this is also something which is your me time. This is the time for yourself, the time of the day which is not for the world. Some of us also like to do meditation, which is also great. And that is the time when you create an intention for the day. So for example, there are a lot of triggers we all have, something that triggers us. If somebody says something to us, it takes our day for a toss, or something happens. So use that time to convert your triggers to be your anchors. So today, my intention is that I will come out of my comfort zone. I will do something that I have not done. Today, I will be thankful for whatever is happening in the day. And I think gratitude is one quality. If we can just even say that and create an intention for that every day, that's also good enough. So having a ritual where you are actually, working on your body, you're working on your mind, spending time with yourself, reflection, a lot of reflection upon yourself. And then you set out for your day. The second way is in our conversations. I always say that this is across age groups, on how you can have non-judgmental conversations. Often we feel that people are judging us, but then just look within. Are they judging us or are we judging them? So having a non-judgmental conversation would be first to create that me time for yourself, which is the ritual you set. Exercising a lot of empathy in conversations. We have got so busy in our lives that, if somebody just comes in or tries to have a conversation, we are in a process of wrapping it up. Only if it is, if it is worth my time, and time is equal to money here, then I will invest in that person. Otherwise, I will not listen to that person. So, it's like taking a pause, listening to what the other person is trying to say, exercising that empathy, and creating that connect. I mean, if you can have even one valuable connection in your life, or you can help people feel connected in their life, I think it's so fulfilling. So it's about those conversations that you have with them. It's about appreciation and acknowledgement in conversations. I work with a lot of kids, and not only kids, even parents for that matter. In today's day and age, they're not used to listening good things about themselves. So, I do an activity with them where I ask them to write down their amazing qualities. Okay, write down what are the good things about you, the things that you're awesome at. And some of them don't start. Some of them go for 2 or 3. And, I have seen maximum coming as a 5 or 6, because they are just not used to listening good things about themselves. And what does it take in a day? I mean, there is so much you can genuinely appreciate a person for. Morning, your mom or your dad, they cook something for you. Say thank you. They're doing it for you. Your son or your daughter does something amazing for you. Go and say a thank you to them. Appreciate them. If there's something nice they're wearing, just say it's an amazing shirt. Or anything. If you see someone really coming out of their comfort zone, and doing something amazing, go and appreciate that person. So I feel it's about having non-judgmental conversations. And, when we do that me time, the ritual part, if we can do that as an ongoing process, there are a lot of fears that would, go away. You'll understand, what are things that you can let go. There are certain things that are in your control. There are certain things that are not in your control. And if we are focusing our life on things that are not in our control, it's time to cut that chain and take it off. Because whatever we focus on expands. So let's, if we can just focus on, it's not, I don't say that you can be positive in every situation, but definitely you can respond to a situation positively. So yeah, that's what I'd like to say. Yeah.
Olga, your mic is muted. Beautiful. Rajat, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned that how much our attention is important. And it's really like that, where you invest your attention the most, this area will blossom in your life. If you put your attention in bad news, in bad thoughts, your life will be so miserable. But if you invest in creative, in good attitude to people, in conversations, in a good way with people, your life will be surrounded by the same people like you, and good actions will happen in your life unexpectedly. That's very true. And I wanted to ask you, since we are speaking about creative society, how would you envision a society where everybody can be able to use their talents to be happy, to be safe, to feel comfortable?
Wow. It's a society of acceptance. It's a society where we can accept different viewpoints, where we are not judging people, I'll take an example here, though it comes from my experience of working with teens, but I think it's very relevant here. One of my first students whom I worked with, he came with a mental health label. I will not share that, but it's a mental health label he came in, where where his brain was not wired to make social conversations. Now he was not an introverted child. He loved interacting with people and he would like to go out and do it, but he was not able to do it. And I met him when he was 15 years old, and he had been diagnosed with that mental health condition when he was 4 years old. Now, as he was growing older, and when he became 10 or 11, he had started facing a lot of rejection in his life. When I met him at 15, Olga and Serge, and when I was talking to him, I asked him, okay, so what do you want to do in your career going forward? He said, my dad wants me to be a doctor. And once I become a doctor, I will leave. He wanted to leave the world at 15 because he had borne so much rejection. From his mother had given up on him. From school, he would be the one who would land up, in the principal's office without any fault of his. And he just didn't want to move ahead in his life. What was missing in his life was he did not get acceptance from anyone. And then when we started working together was when, it's my journey with teenagers started then. But it was about him accepting himself, understanding his amazing qualities. And Olga today, he's a boy who's of course he has his meltdowns, everything, but he understands his patterns, he understands his things. So now the moment he accepted himself, now he feels accepted by people around. So if we can create a world which is more accepting, we can go ahead. I mean, there should be, and I would really want a subject. So of course, I work with a lot of schools for that, but there's a subject of humanity in schools. We don't have that subject in schools these days. So even if we can start with that, and I think Serge was sharing that there's some great work happening. So that's one thing that would really take it forward. And that's how, I mean, when you talk about, so, one thing when I read about Creative Society after that discussion we had, Serge, was your logo. The logo that you have, where you have the circle with the upward arrow, the 8 symbol, and the triangle. I mean, I don't know, like you shared, there's 9 years of research that's gone, and it shows. I mean, I think that logo sums up, and I completely agree with that vision of the world, where you are creating something where a world of harmony, a world of justice, a world where there is unity, a world where there is continual development, and especially that circle with the upward arrow, which is an upward movement of mankind towards a perfect ideal society for people. So that's what I would like to say about it.
Thank you, Mr. Rajat. This is okay, just a few words about the logo since you mentioned, and then I will reflect on what you said, because you're saying so many important things that on each word of yours it's really resonates, and we have so many things that we want to share. And regarding the logo, the 8 or eternity. In many cultures of the world, the number 8 is a symbol of perfection, order, and completeness. And on our website, allatraunites.com, there is an explanation, broader explanation why we choose this logo. And the triangle upward has multiple meanings. Among the main meanings are life, mounting upward momentum and prosperity. And the circle with an upward arrow, in the world's traditions, the circle embodies life, completeness, unity, highest perfection, and continuous movement. And the arrow upward actually shows that movement of like creational movement of the clockwise. And regarding what you were saying about acceptance, and one of the projects of Allatra International Public Movement is no violence in the family and society. And very often when we think about violence, we think about some physical violence. But a lot of scientists and a lot of psychologists, they will say that most of the time, words or our ignorance of other people, they can damage the other person much more than the physical action. Because if you I don't know, if one person hits another person, that bruise or something, after some time it goes. But if you say really offensive things, or vice versa, we had one lady who said she remembered for all her life. Can you imagine? For all her life, when her friend, she just forgive her because she made something very bad to her. She didn't say what, but she said, you know what? Your relationship with you and you as my friend, I value so much that it doesn't matter for me that action. And she remembered it for all her life. And it was like so impressive for me. And it again proves that by words we can uplift the person, we can support, and at the same time it can have a very negative impact. So what you are what you are doing is very important.
Yeah, I feel, I mean, bang on. Whatever you're saying is beautiful. I think it's very touching. Uh, if I just add to it, probably it's three things as I reflect upon it that really matter, probably. One is our thoughts, whatever we are thinking. Uh, from those thoughts would come the energy that we put in, like sometimes we don't say things to the other person, but it reflects in our body language or in our non-verbal. So the energy is going there, whether it's positive or negative, it is going there. You're creating that environment anyways. So in India, a lot of people go to pilgrimages, and once I also went through to a pilgrimage, and I was like, what is it about it that makes it so amazing? Why do we feel so positive over there? Everybody is saying. So, it is the positive energy of everybody around. Nobody who's walking to that privilege or going over there is thinking anything negative. And, so it's about the energy that you're reflecting. And from that energy, you take your actions. So if the thoughts are positive and the energy is positive, the actions which will be there would be positive again. So just wanted to add that to what you said.
Thank you, Mr. Rajat. Thanks again. And those example you made about your pupil who couldn't be accepted, this is very widespread in the society, and actually it goes in my heart too, because I have friends with invalid children, for example, and I see this refusal in the society of these people. And when people have a little difference from our social standards, it's like a reflex in our mind to behave differently with them. For example, I totally understand that we are all same inside, that we have same spiritual nature, and we are all humans. But even when I see these people in the street and I see that they are very different, first thing I'm trying to do is to avoid my look from them. And when I caught myself on this, I was shocked about myself. Like, how is it so reflex and so natural for myself just to do that? They're same people, they're same as us. Why do we do that? Just a social marker, which are treated to us from our childhood. That different people that should be differently treated, they should be separated from the society, and so on. This is also a big issue from our Soviet Union education, but I see it all over the world too. And coming to this topic, I wanted to introduce 8 foundations of creative society and ask a question about one of them. Dear viewers, you can see 8 foundations on your screen, and I want to share that these foundations were created not by themselves, not accidentally, that we were interviewing people all over the world, and based on their answers about their society they want to live and they want their children to live in, we built these 8 foundations, which totally show the common seed which was in every answer of every person, no matter their nationality, social status, religion, and so on. And I want to discuss for now fifth, fifth foundation of 8 of them, the creative ideology. Ideology should be aimed at popularizing the best human qualities and stopping everything that is directed against a human. The main priority is the priority of humanity, high spiritual and moral aspirations of a human, humanness, virtue, mutual respect, and strengthening of friendship, creating conditions for the development and education of a human with a capital H, cultivating moral values in each person and society, prohibition of propaganda, of violence, condemnation, and denunciation of any form of division, aggression, and anti-humane manifestations. I want also to go a little backward. When I was reading your review, trying to understand what will be our guests, what are you doing, I stopped at one description about you, that one of your missions is to bridge the communication gap between parents and teens. And I like this idea a lot. My question is about creative ideology. What do you think? How much is important to keep this creative ideology in the family and outside from the society? Can, for example, parents raise children in fully creative ideology if whole the world is propaganding violence, consumerism, and so on, and vice versa? If the world is a safe and a good place and propaganding creative ideology from all the news, YouTube channels, and so on, but in the family there will be different. Can a children raise a person?
Sure. So yeah, first would of course be, creating that safe space where your children can share and express themselves very freely with you. Second would be about reflecting upon yourself as parents, because kids show what they see. It's if the way you are managing your emotions, may it be aggression, may it be anxiety, may it be resilience. If you are showing resilience, your children are watching you. So it's about modeling that behavior that you want to see in your children. If we are taking a family, one particular family, it's part of a greater it's part of a greater family, or the greater family is the creative society that we're trying to all build. So if one family starts with that, and it goes on and involves more families into it, getting that human perspective in children, where families, a lot of times parents, would tend to follow a very teach and tell approach, give lessons. If they can share their own vulnerabilities also with the children, creating an environment which is uh, which is more human, and then propagating that to different families in order to create that collective positive energy, uh, which is the energy of humanity. And if your children see you treating, for example, the house help or the people on the streets, if your children see you treating them well, they will treat them well too. So a huge responsibility in the in the hands of the parents, in fact in the minds of the parents. So a lot of reflection, action, and the energy that they are expending out.
That is so interesting what you're saying. That the teacher, first of all, it's like like a friend that you share. Not only like you don't only like teach or even if I can say preach or you make them do. No, this is what I said. This is what you gotta do. But no, what you're saying is so important that you can share your vulnerability or your experience, like it's like it should be communication from human to human like from heart to heart, not like I'm the one who is the smartest here and you gotta listen to me. Most of the time kids are saying such things, and I heard many stories when teachers are saying that I don't know like who is learning from who because the new generations they are like much I should say maybe faster, or they have a bit other views on our society. And when I was finishing university, I also had a small experience of teaching for maybe 2 weeks. It was like a part of the master's degree, and it was such an amazing experience. I even asked in the end if I can do that, like in other countries you can work somewhere and at the same time like give lectures or something like that. But I was told that you got to do so many formalities that in the end of the day you will not be happy that you were signed for that. But what I remembered for a very long time, there was one student who was using headphones, like listening to music or something like that. And when I asked him, what I noticed is that other students they are like started smiling or something like that. So probably they he was like considered like um, not the one who was getting the best grades. So that's why they were smiling that he will not answer in a proper way. But when he was started talking, I was really impressed because he had such a view, like analytical view. He was understanding the concept of economics. It was economics subject, and he was answering really nice. And once all the students saw that his answer was really appreciated, and I shared with the students that you just don't try to memorize something from the book. Try to understand and try to speak how you see things, and to put like some your vision and your input. And what I noticed after that, I saw in the book of attendance that he was coming very seldom for lessons. But with that class, we had maybe 2 or 3 lessons, and for all the rest of them, he came. And I wanted to ask you, Mr. Rajat, maybe you can share also from your experience when you are using this approach of being a friend to the students, or maybe I should say your vision of future of education. Maybe you can share with us these points that will help education to uplift pupils and students.
Sure. So, firstly, taking from what you said, uh, it's about unjudging. In your case, it's the student. So in fact, I wrote an entire book on this, which is Unjudge Your Teenager. So basically for parents, but equally valid for educators. Also, when you're in schools, you see a lot of judgments happening. If there's some message which I want to spread, which I also share in the book, it's about 3 A's. The 3 A's would be awareness, acceptance, and action. So first, spend time on reflecting upon yourself, whether you're a parent, whether you're an educator, whether you're a teenager. Spend time reflecting upon yourself. Reflect on each area of your life, whether it is your social life, your family life, whether it is your career, it's about your whatever it is. Reflect upon your areas of life and find out where the gaps are. Give yourself a score on each area of your life. Give yourself a score. Nobody else is giving you a score. So, for example, if you're giving yourself a score that I am, with respect to my family, I am happy. I'm 40% happy. So I give myself a score of 4 on 10 there. What is it that I can do to take that score from a 4 to say a 6? And then, of course, you want to reach a 10, but then 4 to 6, a more realistic goal you set for yourself. And then work on that. So awareness. Second would be acceptance. Acceptance is, for example, a lot of teenagers say to me that adults don't understand us. Okay, and they would be more like, they just say, shut down your phone and go and study. All right. A, they don't know what I'm doing on my phone. They're not trying to understand that. And B, they are saying that to me, having a phone in their hand. Okay. So, it's about accepting your child that, okay, fine, if he's playing a game or if he's watching a web series, the kind of enjoyment we got when we were kids while playing a hide and seek or other games, it's the same feelings they are getting from that device. Because these days, phones are not merely tech devices, they are relational devices. So if you are saying something to them about that, it's like you're attacking their friendships. So you're attacking their friends. So acceptance of those feelings of what your child is really feeling, and then taking the action, which is going and having a conversation with them, which is more empathetic. A conversation where you first state that, I completely understand how you feel, or, which series were you watching? How was it like? And then asking them for what are the positive of it and what are the negative impacts of it. Our children have all the wisdom in the world. They know what are the negative impacts of certain things. So in this case, it's technology, right? So, or in some cases, children are also getting into and making poor, dangerous choices. Go and ask them, let them reflect. It's a journey of making your children reflect a lot and then take action. So awareness, acceptance, and action. And it's an ongoing process. It's not like you studied for a subject and you've given your exam. It's an ongoing process. And so that's what I want to share for everyone in the education system. If we can imbibe these 3 things, I think we can really achieve what you want to achieve.
Thanks a lot for your answers. Again, we are going in circles around acceptance, how much it is important everywhere in all the areas of our life. And I wanted to ask you one more question about children. Since you are seeing them in a very pure state when they're not yet influenced by society, by television, what is in them by nature? What is prior in children before they are brought? Aim to create or aim to destroy? What do you see?
Aim to create. Create. For them, it's about creation. In fact, They will even try to create things which they've they would have broken it. They will still try to collect it back. It's creation. It's joining. When they see anybody sad or anybody not happy, they'll be the first ones to go and talk, or they will feel equally sad. They have the purest of emotions, and the purest of emotions can only lead to creation.
Thank you, Mr. Rajat. I wanted also to ask you, since you already went through the 8 foundations, maybe you can give your feedback about the foundations and your view on the foundations of the creative society.
Sure. So I think when we talk about the 8 foundations, I could also somehow connect it to the Maslow's hierarchy of needs that we had done, especially the one on human safety. But I'll talk about each one of them. So the first one being of human life, and as I talk about human life, I would like each one to reflect upon these ideologies and think how it applies to them too. So human life, ask yourself, how does it make you feel when you are not valued by the other person? So the way it makes you feel is the way it makes the others feel. Human life is of the highest value. So again, as we've talked about making communication, expressing yourself, speaking up, having non-judgmental conversations, but valuing human life is what comes first. And if you're a parent, let's do that. Let's model that behavior for our children. The second is human freedom. Now, I would like to include one part in this specifically, which is about diversity and inclusion. So each one of us are unique in our own ways. May it be our qualities, may it be anything else. Then why do we choose certain parameters to feel that we are superior to the other person and the other person is lesser just because they are not a version of ourselves? Why not appreciate that uniqueness? Appreciate everybody has a choice and they can make their choice. It's about respecting choices that people make, and each one of us has that freedom and that right to choose. The third one being of human safety, which also I connect a lot to the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, where we talk about the very, very basic needs. It starts with the physiological needs, which is food, water, rest, warmth, going on to your safety needs of feeling that safety and then security. Human safety is also about, in my view, about creating that safe space where people are free to express themselves, free to move wherever they want to move, without feeling scared or without feeling a threat to their life. So that would be human safety for me. And of course, human safety has got a lot to do with your mental health safety also. So express yourself and speak your mind. The fourth one would be transparency and openness of information for all. Again, as we spoke about, if we have it is our right to know what's really happening. A free flow of information is what is required. If we are investing our time, effort, and other resources on a certain thing, we must maintain that transparency and openness. So I say that both with respect to a particular family, even at your home, there should be a lot of transparency on what's really happening. And a lot of times kids feel that, why am I not getting that thing which I want to buy? So then parents need to be very transparent that these are the resources we have and this is what you can get. So give them choices, pick this or pick this. So similarly, there has to be a lot of transparency in a much bigger world, where what is really happening, and where are the resources being used. So that is there. Then, of course, we discussed in detail about the creative ideology, about the human aspect and creating conditions for the development and education of human with a capital H, cultivating moral values in each person and society. And let me tell you, it starts from you and it starts from your home. So let's take that first initiative. The sixth, I think the sixth one is development of personality. Each one of us have that element of growth, where we want to grow as a human being, where we want to learn new skills, which are not only academic skills, but which are life skills, which are where we want to grow in our life. So making education free and accessible to all. If there are mentors out here, coaches out here, counselors out here who are listening to me, who are watching me, go out, just put out a video. Even that is a good enough step. You don't know who is watching it and what difference is it making in somebody's life. Maybe that is growth for them. A lot of people are probably only learning through that. Even in the time of the pandemic, there were a lot of organizations who were working to make, on the one side, if you were battling with students who are constantly on their phones and not being able to get out of it, there was also a part of the world who were not getting access to education because they did not have the basic phones in their hands. So every child, every person has a right to develop their personality, to learn the skills and education, creating that environment where there are opportunities for human development. So that would be the sixth one. Going on to the next one, which is justice and equality, which would again be about creating a more equal world in terms of resources being available in a very fair distribution, in a very fair proportion to all, irrespective of their social background or whatever, or irrespective of gender, sexuality, or anything. There is a more equal world that you are creating for all. And finally, it's about a self-governing society. I really, really appreciate this particular foundation because it talks about power in a very, very responsible way. So, as it says, everyone has a right to participate. So if it is to create a society where you're creating, where you are taking responsibility for yourself, where you're taking ownership. And because you're taking this ownership for a much bigger cause, for a much bigger initiative. So that would be my interpretation of the 8 foundations. And again, getting back to your goal, I'm mentioning that again for everybody who's watching over here. The goal of the Creative Society is to build a creative society that is free from the system of consumerist mindsets. I would like to emphasize that again.
It is as simple as it is. Thank you, Mr. Rajat. Thanks for this detailed review of each foundation, because every one of them is important. And taking even one of foundations out of Creative Society, it's like taking a leg from a human. He will be limping for sure. So it was very nice of you to make this detailed review. Thanks a lot. And I want to address to our dear viewers, if you are inspired by this interview and the project Creative Society in general, please do not hesitate to join us. And I will ask our technical support to show a video how you can do this. It's very simple. You just need to visit a website, allatraunites.com. Press a red button, join, then fulfill your contact details, specify how much you are going to participate. And this is it. You're in Creative Society, and only you will choose which actions you want to provide. You want just to support, or you want to take participation in projects or interview like this. Everything is appreciated in Creative Society, and everybody is appreciated. Mr. Rajat, I wanted to ask you, maybe you know some of your acquaintances or friends who will also be happy to provide interview like this. Maybe you can tell their names, and it would be so nice if you can be a co-host for them, like my co-host today is Sergey interviewing you. What do you think?
Sure, I have one name in mind right now. That's Bhavna, and she's a senior corporate leader, but she's also been doing some great work with respect to women empowerment and a lot of work on diversity and inclusion. So I think she can be a great member to the Creative Society and contribute to her cause. So I'll definitely have a word with her.
That would be amazing. Thank you, Mr. Rajat, for today's conversation. Dear viewers, like Mr. Rajat said today, it all starts with you and your family. So it's our world and it's our choices, and please don't hesitate. Go to the allatraunites.com website, click the button join, because together and only together we can shape the society that would be comfortable and suitable for us and for our kids. And please, you can send, as you can see on the screen right now, you can send us emails with your vision of Creative Society or with your proposals, what else we can do to inform as many people as possible in the world about such an initiative. And we would be pleased, Mr. Rajat, if you can join us as well for the next stream to be a co-host. It was an amazing pleasure for today. And to summarize our today's conversation, I would like to invite everyone for the third huge international conference on the 20th of March. It's called Creative Society, What the Prophets Dreamed of. We already had two previous conversations, and they were, conferences, and they were translated by volunteers on 35 languages. And they were going for around maybe 5 hours. And it's a huge achievement. I should say that it's even on the level of United Nations what we are doing, and we are really trying to unite all nations together as one family. Please, everyone, visit the website, join the conference, invite your friends, and thank you so much for beautiful conversation today. Mr. Rajat and Olga, and hope to see you very, very soon.
Yes, thank you, Olga, and thank you, Serge, so much. It was such an amazing, amazing conversation.
Thank you.
Unprecedented event of present history. Initiative that comes from people around the world. Main project of humanity. People stopped being silent about urgent issues of our society. How it all started. May 2019, International Online Conference, Society, The Last Chance. 140 countries of the world, hundreds of thousands of people online, hundreds of broadcast platforms, translated into 7 languages simultaneously. If we all want to live in peace, why do we have a world of violence and destruction. It is up to us to build a different world. How can we do it? December 2020, Creative Society. United we can. 180 countries of the world. Millions of people online. Thousands of streaming platforms. 35 languages simultaneously translated. People have voiced today's reality and what they truly desire. And it is the Creative Society. All cultures have an image of the ideal world people want to live in. A world that prophets talked about. The time has come when we can make it real. How will we use this chance? Let's meet March 20, 2021, 3 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time and 10 a.m. Eastern Time. International online event of global scale. Creative Society, what the prophets dreamed of. This is the day the world will unite to find out the truth. Join the entire humanity